I owe it to myself. The way I view it is, I tried, I attempted. If it didn't work out, there's always another job out there. March 15, 2024 was the last day of me officially being employed at JB Hunt and closing on my first property.
If you've ever been stuck in the in-between, waiting for the right moment to make your move, then this episode's for you. Kerlous didn't wait for the right time. He chose it. And that one decision didn't only change things for him, it changed things for his family. And that moment only happened because Kerlous lived the moment that most of us only daydream about. So let's dive in. Welcome to this episode's Best Path Forward. Today, I'm joined by Kerlous.
What's going on, Dan?
Not much, brother. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm a little out of breath.
Wonder why?
Well, you know why.
Yeah. Thanks for putting my watch on the charger.
I've never seen someone show up to someone's house and say, hey, can I use your Apple Watch charger? And they had to sprint up the stairs and then come back down.
That's exactly what happened, right?
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So the question is, why was your watch dead?
It was charged this morning, had it all the way up, and then it died around like 4 or 5 p.m. And I was like, it's close enough to Dan's, podcast. It's like, it's all right if it dies on me. I don't really need it,
There's only one thing I disagree with you there.
What?
It's not Dan's podcast. It's your podcast.
Ooh, that's good.
That is good.
That is really good.
So, Kerlous, I always love to ask this question.
Yeah.
What is your story?
It's a really good question. So a little bit about me. My story is I'm from Egypt. Me and my family moved here when I was 6 years old. Grew up here in Columbus. Went to Ohio State. Studied logistics management in business school. Worked a corporate job for 4.5 years before switching into real estate full time. Back in 2024 of March. So that was a huge turning point for me in a lot of aspects in life. But yeah, that's kind of essentially my story.
That was a tight 60 seconds of storytelling there.
Yeah, if you want, where can we dig in?
I'm curious. So you were in Egypt until you were 6 years old. So do you remember moving over to the States? Did you and your family first move to Ohio?
Yeah, we basically moved straight to Ohio. Yeah.
So what was the draw from someone in Egypt and looking at the map of the U.S. and say, you know what, that's where we want to go?
Funny story. We weren't the ones that made the decision. My uncle, who was already there first here in Columbus, he was the one that lived in New York first and then moved to Columbus. And it was like, I think Columbus is a good spot. It's affordable. Start a family. If you have a family, it's a good spot to be in. So that's how we ended up here.
I never heard a lot of people say that before, that Columbus, Ohio is better than New York.
It's a preference, right? It's a little bit about essentially what you want what you want out of the area. But a lot of people that go to New York say it's really busy. You know what I mean? A lot of foreigners, especially, they're like, this is way too crowded. Even somebody that's Egyptian and is around a bunch of crowded people. Right?
Wait, so are things crowded in Egypt? I know nothing about Egypt at all, except for like the whole biblical story.
Yeah, I mean, it's like not terribly crowded. It's obviously parts of Egypt, but where they grew up, it wasn't insanely crowded. So they grew up in the south part of Egypt called Elminia.
It's called what?
Elminia.
Elminia?
Elminia. A-L and then Minya, M-I-N-Y-A.
Alminia.
Alminia, yeah.
Wait, you're saying it different than I am.
It's like A-L, so Al.
Alminia.
Alminia, yeah.
Alminia.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
There we go.
Let's go.
All right. You got a little happy there. Alminia. So you grew up in Alminia, Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we grew up. Southern part of Egypt it was like a poorer part. Like it wasn't like a crazy fancy city. It was just like something kind of like low key in a way. So that's where we grew up. And then my uncle moved when he was 19 over there to the States. So he was pretty young, and he basically was the one that took a risk and kind of just was like, yeah, I got a visa. I'm going to go over there and try to figure it out. So that was kudos to him, because I couldn't imagine as a 19-year-old moving from Egypt to a new whole country.
All right. And so your family was like, we're going to follow suit.
Yeah, we had another uncle that was always trying to apply for visas, and he applied multiple times. And then he told my dad, he's like, why don't you apply? And my dad applied once. So the letter came in the mail, and they're like, oh, finally, like the guy that keeps applying got it. Turns out my dad and us got it. And it's all right, though. because my uncle followed suit a couple years later. We got him here.
Couple of years.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. So your uncle was like, you know what? I want to go to America too, or maybe not America. I want to get my visa. Wait, do you get visas for specific countries?
I think, but a lot of people just mostly get it for America.
So your uncle wanted to get a visa for America, applied, denied.
Yeah.
Your uncle's like, I'm going to do it on a whim. No, your dad is like, I'm going to do it on a whim. And he
Well,
gets
yeah,
it.
he was pushed. Yeah, he's pushed by my uncle. He's like, "Why don't you apply?" And then he's like, "Okay." Like he gave it a shot. And just right off rip.
So your uncle hates your dad.
I wouldn't say that because they have a really close relationship. They might, it might be a little. I don't think they're not jealous.
Does your uncle still bring it up?
No.
You should start bringing it up just to stir the pot, see what happens.
Yeah. You love stirring the pot, don't you?
No, I just think it's fascinating. It's like your uncle had this dream of like getting a visa, and your dad's like, "It's not really my dream," and he gets it.
And he's like, "Yeah." It always ends up being that way, right? We're like,
Why is that?
It's like the person that doesn't really want it or care just kind of gets it and lands it. It's like, it's insane.
It is insane. So you got to the U.S., Columbus, Ohio, in specific, when you were 6 years old.
Yeah.
Do you remember kind of the time when you guys first moved here?
Yeah, it was definitely difficult. We lived in Columbus City, you know what I mean? And so it's not like in a really great part of town, but that's kind of where we started. We all were living in an apartment together, me, my family, and my uncle. So we were just there. So it's me, my brother, my parents, and then my uncles all living there for like a year to 2 years. So we went to Columbus City schools for like kindergarten, and then moved up first grade. We switched over to Dublin School District, which was like a little bit nicer, right? A little bit of an upgrade. So
I've heard about Dublin before.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't go to primary school here in Ohio, but I hear Dublin is a nice one.
Dublin is pretty solid, yeah. So we stayed there until I was in third grade, which is nice. We met multiple nice people around the area, and it was cool. But the biggest thing I remember in this whole story of my family is essentially my dad and my mom actually as well, and how much they really just hustled, and the sacrifice behind what they did. You know what I mean? Like my dad had his own pharmacy back in Egypt, right? And he was running that. He was making pretty, decent money. It's like my mom was at home. She was a stay-at-home mom, and life was good. They were able to have some time off, able to enjoy life. And then the fact that they said, okay, we're going to start over. We're okay with starting over for us in a way.
Us.
Me and my brother. And because they were like, this is what is going to have a better future for our kids and our future kids. So essentially that was kind of like their decision making. And obviously my uncle being here was like huge, but it still took a huge sacrifice, to be able to move countries when you're established, you already have a business, and you're like, I will start from scratch. And what that means is they're starting from Wendy's, Pizza Hut, all those fast food restaurants while you have a family. But you had a whole life that was established, and it was a pretty nice life. So doing that and sacrificing that and being able to do that patiently while loving your family and kids and all that, that's like what I remember the most. It's like how much he worked, just to be able to like provide for us. And then my mom too, like raising us and trying to help us make sure we grow in our academics. But yeah, that's the biggest things I remember as a kid is like the sacrifice behind what they did. Yeah.
I don't think I ever thought about something like that as far as like someone having like a whole career, like being a pharmacist and everything. And you would think like, oh, you're a pharmacist in Egypt. You could be a pharmacist in the US. It's like you can, but you probably have to do like the whole school thing over again.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. And he actually, funny enough, in Egypt, you don't really even have to have a pharmacy license. So he wasn't a licensed pharmacist. He was actually an accountant, and that started his own business as a pharmacist. So that was kind of essentially it. But yeah, I mean, still, like, you left everything, right? Where it's like, you have this, and yeah, sure, people can transfer the licenses, and they do that all the time. But yeah, the schooling, taking the tests, the language, all that, that's a huge barrier.
So did your parents kind of know they would have to give all this up before they moved to Ohio?
I mean, I think they obviously had some idea, because I never really heard them complain, and they didn't really try to complain. They always kind of like continue doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? I felt the pain in some sort of ways through like what their sacrifice was, but I never understood their sacrifice until I grew older. But that was kind of like essentially my thing was like, why is this school thing so focused on like why do they want us to get a really good education? And coming back to all of it now, it's like, oh, like they had a pretty decent life, and they did all of that just to be able to put us in a really good situation. And essentially all they wanted was to make sure that we're in that really good situation, and their sacrifices didn't go to nothing. So it makes sense where, if you look at perspective in that way.
It does make sense, like kind of hindsight being 2020, but probably when like you're going through the schooling part, you probably didn't understand it as much as you do now.
No.
You said that you kind of felt some of the pain. Like, what does that mean?
Essentially some of the pressure that they felt through, that time, right? Where it's like, this pressure might be on my dad, but it's getting passed on my mom as well, because she's the one that has to take care of us day in and day out. And that being said, we're, we could be like fighting with each other, whatever it is, like, not being the best students, anything like that. And she was the one that had to like carry that, while my dad was working, 2 jobs or whatever it is. And he's, didn't have like the best health. So essentially it's just like more so like the pressure gets passed down to people. And if that person doesn't know how to really deal with the pressure by themselves, it's very easy just to continue passing it down the line.
Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of like figured out a way to kind of deal with that pressure. So what did you do with that pressure back then?
Back then I didn't really know how to.
Oh man, just contradict what I just said.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, no.
Yeah. So back then, as a kid, I didn't really know how to. But that's okay. I mean, I didn't really know how to. Growing up, being in school too, it's like, you're trying to learn a new language, and you're like, okay, like, hopefully you're gonna get it, not the best school, so it's a little bit uncomfortable, obviously you're just like trying to just move through the process, and you're like, hopefully I figure it out, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like the thing. But yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing is like, it was a lot of like figuring it out as time goes, and you're just like, what's going on in a way. It's like, all right, like I'm here, I just need to do decent in school, but like why does school even matter? Like in that type of mindset, you're a kid. So yeah, it puts a lot of things into perspective, but my parents always try to make sure that they give us the best childhood, Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up in the United States. I was born here. So I guess in your mind, what are some things that people that grow up in the United States, like are born in the United States, what are some things that we take advantage of that you kind of had to learn?
I mean, I don't think people understand the amount of opportunity is in here. And the learning part of it is like essentially looking at how third world countries are operated or how other countries are operated. And then looking at our country and how much opportunity there is for people to become successful here. I don't think a lot of us like look at that, even myself, even like after seeing my parents grow up and hustle and do all that. It's like we have all these first world problems that we always complain about, but we just never like try to like look at those problems and be like, that's not really a problem. There's a solution behind it. It's like, I just have to do X, X, and X. But we always kind of just take the back seat and we're like, well, I mean, I guess it is what it is. I'm just going to complain about it. So I think that's the biggest thing that I feel I see the difference between somebody that grew up here, they had everything where it's like, they had that really good childhood and they just never understood, right? Because like it wasn't anything that's a huge change for them, right? Or like they never had to like, because my dad ended up owning his own pizza shop later on. So they never had to work at a family business or do that throughout their whole life. But that gave me a whole like another perspective and patience and all that.
I think a lot of people discount struggle. I mean, no, it's not comfortable at all. But once you kind of get through it and you learn the skills to get through that, next thing you know, it's like, oh, I overcame something I thought was a mountain of a challenge. Yeah. It's like, all right, these little molehills, they aren't so bad anymore. I can do that easy. But it's not until you had the, I guess, desire to overcome that struggle.
Right.
It's like, how do we get through this thing?
Right.
And it sounds like you start to turn the corner yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, grew up high school wasn't the best, but, we learned through that. But as soon as I hit the senior year of high school, I was actually ended up being overweight. I was at like 260 pounds.
260?
262. Yeah. So, it was crazy. So 262 back in senior year of high school. So obviously was picked on, a lot because I'm like super overweight, can't really defend myself, right? And not really somebody that's like works on picking fights or even like somebody that likes to keep arguing. I'm pretty simple, like I'm pretty laid back. So essentially it wasn't like the best childhood period of that time. But I took that and I saw it as a challenge because it was like you doubted from so many different categories. You're doubting yourself biggest form and number one foremost. But then obviously when you hear it from everyone else, you're like, well, like, are you gonna do something about it? So that fall of 2015, I think I was like, I was like, all right, mom, like, tell me I can't like lose weight, right? And like, yeah.
Oh, you told your mom, tell me I can't lose weight.
Yeah. To like
lots of questions there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A lot of questions that go behind that, but essentially it was kind of like, I want somebody to challenge me and I want it to be somebody that I hear a lot of things growing up, right? And I want it to be like, I would prove you wrong type of thing. And that was the energy I was on at that, 17-year-old kid. So that's just...
Tell me I can't do it, mom.
Yeah.
I dare you. She's like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Did she tell you that you couldn't lose the weight?
Yeah, I basically asked her. I was like, hey.
Now, did she say it like quickly or did she like say, that's not how your mom talks?
No, but she hesitated. Yeah, she definitely hesitated.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was like, okay, you can't, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it was like not like an easy thing for her to say. And I was like, but I took it in terms of like, okay, like now I'm like, accept the challenge. And it's like, I'm going to make sure I do this and I complete this. But yeah, I mean, it was like really, it was the amount of growth and the opportunity I saw in that time period was amazing.
So what made you decide you want to lose weight?
I mean, I think it was just I was way too comfortable being in the spot that I was in and not being able to like, be as healthy or move around. And it's just like not a good feeling when you're that amount of weight. Like it doesn't feel good. So I think that was the biggest thing for me. It was like, well, I don't feel good. Like, and obviously it doesn't feel good when you hear it from other people. So all that mix, you're just like, all right, well, I need to do something about this because I can't just let myself keep going down this rabbit hole. So it's just me trying to save myself from going down a rabbit hole that's like hard to like bounce back from.
So how'd you do it?
Yeah, so senior year of high school, I started going to the gym, started like just walking on the treadmill, doing like 30-minute incline walk or 20-minute incline walk, and like I actually started counting my calories as best as possible. You don't really realize how much you're eating when you don't count, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you see a tablespoon of something.
You're like,
or even like little coffee creamers. A tablespoon of coffee creamer. You know how quick that goes? And it's like 35 calories. Next thing you know, it's like 150 calories.
Yeah, because like cream. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, that's not ideal.
Not ideal at all. And especially because like sugar is so easy, just keep indulging.
Yeah.
Like, why not? So, I mean, essentially that was kind of like me. It was like working at the pizza shop. You don't really count the amount of calories are in a pizza.
Oh, you were working at a pizza shop when you started deciding to lose weight.
Yeah. I mean, it was my parents' pizza shop. And it's like, you're like,
you gotta eat pizza. That's what's for dinner because y'all work there. Did you have to buy the pizza when you worked there or did you?
No, luckily enough, we didn't have to do that. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, it sounds like you were able to kind of keep out the weight unless you're hiding it here. You're no longer 260 pounds. And honestly, it's one of the reasons I met you was through the gym. So you're still getting after it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still getting after it. I mean, it's been a journey. It wasn't like, it's never like something that you just know or you're like, oh, I had to like keep going consistently. I mean, there was like times where it's like, I mean, I lost like 30, 40 pounds my first time I lost weight. And that was like, I was like 220. And I was like, wow, like that's great.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Right. 218. And it's like, all right, cool. Like that's awesome. Like, but I kept going to the gym, but like not really, like I wasn't as active. And I went to college, gained a little bit of back I was around 235, something like that. And then I was like, okay, like I need to do something. But, you lose a little bit of weight and then you like, you go in a swing of things and you're just still like not a super consistent pace where it's like the most consistent I've ever been is right now in this period of time. Like I would say like past the year. And so, Yeah, I mean, all I can say is it's not something that's just like you click and it's like you're there. Like you're there every day. It's a whole mindset that takes a long time to essentially get to.
Oh, you just said one of my favorite phrases ever. Mindset. I guess word, 2 words, 1 word.
Yeah,
Is mindset 1 word or 2 words?
it's 1 word, I think. Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure.
I hope you're right. I'm gonna fact check you later.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I think it's 1 word.
Yeah.
We'll say it's 1 word.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, 1 word.
Yeah.
So mindset is huge there. You sounded like you kind of went from the yo-yo effect of high weight, low weight, high weight, low
Yeah.
weight. Now you're consistent. So what do you think allows you now to be consistent? Like what's a tool to kind of like you use to help keep that mindset secure?
The biggest tool I have that I use is like essentially it's like the feeling of you not feeling good about yourself day in and day out. And so maybe it's not like an exact tool, but essentially it's just a reminder of, okay, here's the feeling that you get after you get a workout in. You feel ahead, you feel great. You're like, cool, like I feel ahead of my day. Like I can go into the office and I'm not gonna feel like I'm, you know what I mean? So you get adrenaline and you're like, okay, cool. Like I started my day right. And that's like a huge tool. It's like, especially being in sales, it's like you want to feel like you got ahead because there's a lot of punches that are coming your way anyways throughout the day. So it's like, if you don't get that first up, you're already starting off the day, you know, and like maybe over here, like bare level, but then what if you get punched right? And it's like, okay, cool. Like now you're just trying to just come from behind. And it's like, when you get after it the first of the day and you're like, all right, now I like have that mindset where it's like, okay, whatever's coming to me, I can deal with it and face it. So I think that's like really the biggest thing is the consistency aspect of, you know what I mean, going in and day out.
I like the idea that you say, like, you remember the feeling that you get after working out. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to feel sore. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that and the other. I don't want to get sweaty, which is the dumbest one. I love getting sweaty because I'm like, I'm losing that water weight.
Yeah.
And so that feeling afterwards, though, it's like you feel a little bit more calm at work. If your boss says something to piss you off, you're like, you know what? We're going to let that one go.
Yeah.
If some coworker says something slide, you're like, you know what? Good luck. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like things just don't bother me the same way. Like I'll drive to work after the gym and I'll see everyone so tense and just having road rage. And I'm like, y'all just need to relax. You just need to calm down. Like it's going to be okay. But it's not like my normal state. That's just because like I just went and worked out for like 2 hours, you know, I got a good community involved. I got to see my friends and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the best way to start the day.
Yeah. I mean, took pictures with your friends, got a good workout in. What can go wrong? It's like you're pretty happy.
Hold on. Did you say take picture with your friends and get a good workout in? Is that the order you put for me?
Yeah.
Like I don't work out, I just take pictures. You could have said he works out and then takes pictures, but instead you said I take pictures. All right. It's no secret that part of the way that I built the gym community is doing something called the daily report. But mind you, I still work out. If you don't see me working out, that's on you. But I object to Kerlous's characterization of me just taking pictures and then working out. I'll have you know that I still work out and then take pictures. It's messed up, man. I thought we were friends. Trying to put me on blast. You proud of yourself?
I knew that you'd get a kick out of it.
You did that on purpose? Is that why? Heard. Well played. I'll give you that. Cheers up.
Cheers up.
That was well played. All right. I felt right for it. Well, I still don't believe that you did that on purpose, but it was well played. So you say you work in sales. You mentioned earlier, as part of your moving to America from Egypt story, as I like to call it, that you had a job for corporate America and then you started doing your own thing about 4 years later. So what are you doing now?
Yeah, so I am a real estate agent out here in Columbus, Ohio. I help a lot of first-time home buyers, anyone that wants to sell, and out-of-state investors. So it's a mix of all three of those. But essentially, I was passionate about, you know, trying to get into real estate, either helping because I love meeting new people, building a network, and then obviously learning the investing side has also been a passion of mine.
So what's the difference between like investing in real estate and then also just being a realtor?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of realtors that could sell an investment property, but to have more of a focus on it, it takes a different outlook, and it takes somebody to know what they're doing to understand and put somebody on the right track. So essentially, I joined this brokerage called Reefco Real Estate. You know, make sure I shout them out.
What's the name?
Reefco.
Reefco Real Estate.
Reefco Real Estate.
Reefco Real Estate.
Yeah. My friend Brandon from college was the one that put me on and help me out. But there's a lot of realtors. There's about, I think, 8,000 realtors in Ohio.
8,000?
Yeah. There's a lot of real estate agents out there, right? So
Hold on. You know what I was thinking of? I was like, are there more realtors or lawyers? I think we might have y'all beat.
really,
Probably. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out after this. I'm hella curious though.
Me too.
Yeah. I thought there's a lot of lawyers. But then again, 8,000 realtors is a lot.
A lot of people. I mean, anybody can really go get the real estate license, and yeah, even you.
I don't want to. I'm a lawyer already. You can't have both. Is that a rule?
No, I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, I just think that you can't be the attorney and the agent at the same time of the transaction. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
I don't know. You're the realtor.
Yeah. I mean, you're the lawyer.
But you say you're a realtor before I said I was a lawyer, so that means your rules go. That's because I'm a lawyer. I can set the rules. So there's 8,000 realtors in Columbus or in Ohio.
You might be honest. I think it might be Columbus. Yeah.
All right. So there's 8,000, at least 8,000 in Ohio.
Yeah.
So it's pretty competitive.
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's like the gym and getting in shape. Like, there's a lot of people that want to get in shape. Right?
Ooh. New Year's Eve, they're like, let me get in shape. New Year's Day, they go to the gym. 2 weeks later, they're done going to the gym. I see what you mean.
Yeah. A lot of people they're like, yes, I want to get my real estate license. But I don't think they really know what the meaning behind having a real estate license is and like what it actually takes to be a successful real estate agent.
All right, so what does it take?
It takes a lot of patience and being okay with rejection day in and day out a lot. And not losing your cool. Back to the patience part. So I think it's a mix of things. I think consistency, it's the persistence of, keep going after it day in, day out. And third thing is just having a plan and just trying to figure out what's not working and fixing those things, right? And with us having a great group of guys at Reef for Real Estate, there's a lot of collaboration that goes on to be able to help each other grow. And so I think it's about just putting yourself in that right group or that right mentor or whatever it is, because some people have it, but at the same time, it always helps to have a great mentor or somebody else that's going to be able to help you push you to the next level. So it's luckily enough, I found myself the group that would be able to help me out as much as possible. And I want to do the same for the future, including my brother and my cousins or whatever it is. So essentially it's huge to be having a sport cast. And that's what you have at the gym after you go consistently, right? You see it, like you have people that are like, oh, where's Dan? Or where's this person? Where's that person? And it's like, oh, and you just like, why don't you just shoot them a text? Like Dan's like, why don't you just shoot them a text? Like, see where they're at. And that's what ends up happening. It's like, oh, this person wants to be this. It's like accountability partner. So it's huge to have that accountability partner. So I digress, back to what it takes to be a successful realtor. All those things of persistence and everything, but the biggest thing I would say is having that support cast behind you.
So I guess, especially if someone's new to like kind of starting out something, they either do one of two things. One, they keep it a secret, or they want everyone to be part of their support system. So how do you kind of find your own path of finding a support system? Like, are you kind of like scared to tell people what you want to do? Or do you tell everyone and just hope that something sticks? How do you go about doing it?
I think it's more so just feeling it out with people, like knowing who to say, what to say, right? And it's more so like you learn throughout time too, which is like, not everybody's going to be as happy as you are for your own goals. So why are you going to be like putting yourself out there like that if they're like, they've never addressed their own goals and try to push themselves towards it. So it's a mix, right? It's like, you just need to understand the audience and understand where they're coming from. If somebody's like too comfortable with their life and they don't care, and they're like, oh, this person's doing this because you have social media, and social media is a lot of comparisons out there. So I think it's just like knowing if that person is a goal-minded person. I think it's nice to be able to tell them, and you'll be surprised, like, dude, like you're really like supportive, like I really appreciate it. And that was something that I came across like recently, where it's like when somebody is pushing themselves day in and day out, they will not be upset at somebody else pushing themselves as well, too, because it challenges both to become better individuals.
I love what you said there as far as like someone that's goal oriented, kind of being the person that you kind of reach out to
Yeah.
and kind of like open up to about what you're going through.
Yeah.
I found that if I am talking to someone and I'm like, I ask myself, I don't mind sharing like something that I'm going through or something that I'm doing with people, but I can't control their reaction. So one, I put not a whole lot of weight into their reaction. But if I see someone and I respect their opinion, I'm like, okay, I'll be a little bit more cautious about my approach. I will care a little bit more about how I frame the situation, and I will take more seriously any type of feedback that they have.
Yeah.
But not everyone is deserving of that, like of giving you feedback. Like if someone's like, you know what, you should be doing this at the gym. I'm like, you haven't been to the gym in years. Like, no shade or anything, but like, why would I listen to you about advice that you haven't demonstrated any type of knowledge in?
Yeah.
And so I think that's also true. So like, you see people that aren't driven and like they see that you are driven, they're probably not going to be your best hype person.
No, they're not going to be your best hype person, and you got to be careful. You just got to understand it's like, it's okay at the end of the day. Those people made their own decisions, and that's fine. But just continue to do what your goal is and what you want, because it's essentially it's you and you versus you, and it's a biggest form of self-love. So obviously be careful of who you surround yourself with. If you don't hear that support right away, just leave the room.
Just leave the room.
Just leave the room. It's not easy, by the way. It never is, but it's the best thing for you sometimes.
You have to protect your peace.
You have to.
And so you kind of started this whole journey about an American tale of like your parents wanting to come to the U.S. and make a better life for you and your brother, and your own self-assessment, not even like how you think your parents are thinking of you, but like you kind of living up to what you think you can do, and then also realizing that they sacrificed a lot. How do you think you're doing?
I think I'm doing pretty well, thankfully. There's obviously things that I need to work on day in, day out, week to week as well, and need to go back to some of the habits that I had created before and just continue working on them. But the biggest things day in and day out, I feel like I'm continue to hit. But it's amazing to see, especially the past couple of years, where being able to put myself in me and my family and help everyone around me, the spot that I'm in right now. So I'm thankful.
Well, Kerlous, thank you very much for sharing your background with us. I think you have a fascinating story. I respect you. I love what you're doing as far as like your hustle and everything, and just seeing you kind of really grow into one of the top realtors that I know. It's been really cool to see.
I appreciate that, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
If you don't mind, we've talked about you enough. So now I want to talk about something that I prepared.
Yeah.
So you had homework. You had 2 pieces of homework kind of preparing for this podcast.
Yeah.
And one of those pieces of homework was picking a date. Do you remember what date we're going with?
Yeah, March 15th.
March 15th, 2024?
Yep.
All right, so what was special about March 15th, 2024?
March 15th, 2024 was the last day of me officially being employed at JB Hunt and closing on my first property.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So the day you left your JB Hunt, you had closed on your first property.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
What went through your mind?
I was getting a severance package emailed over to me while I was signing my closing documents. So, or you can only imagine, right? It's like, it's a mix of like, this is a farewell, but new chapter.
Severance package. So, it was involuntary.
It was, I chose, they basically were like, you can continue staying because they were able to keep everybody on for at least for another month or 2 months before they started cutting people again. But they were like, do you want to take the severance package? And I was already contemplating before, the year before, I was like, I think I'm going to do it. Like, I think this is my decision. And so I was just going back and forth with myself. I was kind of planning it in my head of like trying to do it in April. And then the opportunity just fell in my lap after I came back from Cleveland for a couple months. They're like, hey, we're cutting down the fleet. We're also going to cut down managers. Do you want a severance package? I was like,
when you put it like that,
I was like, that doesn't sound too bad. Like,
yeah.
6 weeks of worth of pay. That kind of times up with my timeline. It's like, all right, let's do it. Like, that was kind of, yeah.
So you kind of mentioned that you had to do a pressure going up and everything. I can imagine that pressure skyrocketed once they were like, hey, 6 week severance, and you still hadn't sold your first house. So how did you kind of manage that pressure until you made that first sale?
Luckily enough, I did sell 4 properties the year before. So it wasn't as crazy, but it was my first property that I bought myself.
Ah.
So yeah, not to throw everybody off, but yeah, it was my first property that I bought myself. But it was still a lot because you don't know you don't have really a book of business like everyone else around you.
No.
So you're like, all right, like I'm gonna go into this. I have a couple of things working out right now, but let's see where we go. Yeah. And my parents were like, you sure you don't want to like work a full-time job and still do this part-time? And I was like, nah, I think this is basically it. Like, I need to do this. Like, I owe it to myself. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
A lot. I mean, a lot of work can happen.
A lot. But the way I view it is, I tried, I attempted. If it didn't work out, there's always another job out there.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, no matter what decision you make, there's always something worse that can happen. And so that's kind of like my response. Like, why are you doing? It's like, well, of course, the worst case scenario is possible. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
The important part is like I'm doing a preparation and working out to increase those outcome or the likelihood of a successful outcome.
Exactly. So just prepare, like putting yourself in that situation where it's like, the way I viewed it is I gave myself a 6-week insurance policy. It's like, and that helped me because at that time I also closed another property, and that was like a pretty big, for somebody else, not for me, but closed a house that was like my biggest residential sale at the time, which was like 600,000. So it was like,
Louise.
yeah, so it was like, wow, like that's a pretty decent commission. Just got the severance package. So it's kind of like those two mix of those two things where I was like, I'm gonna go into it with this one, like, you know, I have these things working out. So what can I be, you know what I mean, like worried about? So that was like me, like going into that, it was like, I think I'm putting myself in the right situation. Like, by the way, that person closing on that property, that wasn't into my playbook when I went and chose the severance package. I literally was like, I'm gonna leave. Like, I need to leave for myself. Like, this is not somewhere that I'm gonna grow. So we allow ourselves to put ourselves in a situation where we don't grow because we think that it's okay and it'll all be fine. And maybe it'll be fine, but sometimes you have to challenge yourself in that aspect.
You have to get into that. My friend calls it the discomfort room.
Exactly.
Make yourself a little uncomfortable. It's like, all right, I don't have that steady paycheck right now.
Yeah.
I want to take a bet on myself with it. And it sounds like you did that.
1,000%. And yeah, I'm super happy I did.
I'm happy you did it too. You wouldn't be nearly as interesting if you would have stayed at the other job.
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little, not to say like that's not exactly true, but I think it's essentially it adds a lot to my story, and honestly, I'm blessed because it's how much it's impacted my family and everyone around me.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So March 15, 2024.
Yeah.
All right. We do have a date for this. So what I'll have you do is I'll have you read this to yourself as that kind of explain what bite brains are for anyone who has not heard of them before. Is that all right with you?
Yep.
All right, here you go. So bite brains are tools that I use to help process the world around me. I try to do them 6 days a week, skipping Sunday for a rest day. Generally, they're broken down into one of 3 major categories: mind, body, and spirit. Mind is about having different mental rooms in your life, and that's rooms where you can allocate mental energy toward, be it the workout room, the real estate room, the pizza shop room. We all have these different rooms in our lives where we're allocating mental energy toward. The next is body. Body is about taking a 360 holistic approach to your body. It's more than just calories in or calories out through exercise. It's also about your sleep, how you carry your anxiety, your stress levels, and also the environment around you can all impact your body. The last is spirit. Spirit's about diving in and reaching out. Diving in to determine your own code of conduct, figuring out how you want to live in the world, and then reaching out to others, understanding that we can't do this thing called life without other people in it. Did you have a chance to read that?
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you I've never heard someone say thank you for that. Yeah. You've got some manners.
Appreciate it.
That's no response there. All right. So once again, this is March 15, 2024. And the category is spirit. And the title is Code Share, Reflect to Connect. Self-reflection in order to connect with a more diverse group of people in a congenial manner. In a world where it's easy to find grounds for disagreements, this friend's code helped reform an approach when I feel I might have to disagree with someone. Reflect. Put a mirror up to your face and look. If you have some principles and codes that you live by, chances are someone will disagree with those same codes and principles. As you stare at yourself, realize that you wouldn't want someone to judge you. So when you lower the mirror, give them the same courtesy. When you dive in to reflect prior to reaching out, you quiet the potential for mental energy to allocate itself to judging them, and instead will give yourself the chance to connect. We each have evolving and refining codes that we live by. Don't miss out on a potentially life-changing connection just because of one ground where you might disagree on. So Kerlous, that one started with a quotation from someone, and that quote is from a lawyer friend of mine. And back in February of 2024, so a month before this, I was going around gathering different what I call code statements from people, and this person said, I find myself judging other people before giving them a chance. So my lesson to you is like, hey, don't do that, because it's hard for me to kind of remember to do that. And so I thought to myself, do I judge other people before I actually give them a chance to explain themselves? The answer is yes. All of us do.
All do. All the time.
All of us do.
Even with people that we know.
Even with people we know. So the thing is, knowing that we can't really kind of stop those automatic thoughts from happening, we're raising awareness to it.
Yeah.
And once we raise awareness to it, it's like, all right, let me just stop and take a step back. Am I giving this person a fair chance? Or am I already thinking of their counter? You see this a lot, even like in politics and fights and things like that, or family fights. You're not actually listening to what they're saying because you're thinking about your counter and your response. And so you're missing out on a chance to connect where they're coming from. And so rather than just kind of like immediately thinking of my counter response, I force myself to just quiet my brain. I'm like, I know I've said a lot of ridiculous stuff in my life, probably on a daily basis. 90% of it is likely in a gym, 10% at work. It just happens. But I don't want people to always judge me for that, especially if they don't know if I'm kidding about something. It's like, I need to give other people the same courtesy. How do I lead from a spot of trying to understand where they're coming from? Maybe they didn't grow up in the US, and so they have a different culture than I do. Yeah. Or they grew up in a different region of the country, and they have different culture than I do. Who knows what it is? It's not my position or not my right to judge that person. I have to kind of stop myself and say, where are they coming from? And you know what I started to realize?
What?
Most people are actually not trying to hurt your feelings. Most people are actually not trying to be assholes. They just don't know your kind of culture and your own code of conduct. They don't know what they're doing is quote unquote offensive. It's like, whoa, well, I can't be upset with them for that. You know, I could be, but it'd be wasting time. It's missing out on me being able to connect with that person.
Wow.
Wow.
That was good.
It was something. It's just a little bike brain.
No, it's really good because I think we do it all the time. And the culture thing is on a bigger scale. But we do it all the time with people that we know, and we just love to just put judgment on others without even like understanding or like looking at perspective and empathy and having that. I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, we were talking about this at the gym, you know, a few days ago. It's like, what's your word of the month? And I was like, perspective, because it takes a step back in order to see somebody else, what they're looking at from, they're viewing it from, or whatever's going on in their period or time of life. And then just be like, okay, like, I'm going to try to make sure I raise awareness, try to make sure I sympathize with you, because we're alone, but we're not alone. So that's the thing. It's like, you don't want to make that person feel like they're alone in their own thoughts. It's like, and whatever challenges that they're going with or going through. And it's like, it takes that reminder of like, let's take a step back. Let's see where they're coming from, rather than putting judgment and making people feel more uncomfortable with their inner thoughts and whatever's going on.
It's fascinating too, because I remember we had that conversation. And word of the month, for those of people who don't know what it is, it's just one word that an individual has to kind of like help them keep perspective on the whole month. You know, it's like, hey, my word of the month is going to be persistence. So how do I make sure I'm persistent each day of that month? And when you had the conversation with me and then kind of think about that bike brain, I thought about it in the context of the gym. And in the context of the gym, like, how do I judge people? And it's not like the way you're thinking, like, oh man, they're lifting wrong. Because I mean, more often than not, no one's really paying attention to how you look as far as like lifting. If someone's watching out how you're lifting, it's probably like, okay, do they need a spot? That's what I'm watching for people. Like, oh, they're bench 315. It's like, let me just keep an eye on them just to make sure they don't, get crushed underneath the bar. My big sometimes like judgment to pause myself is like, oh, I don't see someone in there. I'm like, oh, they're slacking. But instead of sending them a message like, hey, you didn't come to the gym, I'm like, hey, is everything all right? I have to make sure they're doing okay first, because like, you know what, man, my grandma just died. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't send that message saying like, hey, you slacked up at the gym, as they're like greeting with their family. That'd be tough and rough. So it's like, seek first to understand what someone's going through before you pass judgment. And the thing is like, ask yourself, do I even need to pass judgment at all? Who is that going to benefit?
Most likely not. It's like somebody's like telling you, oh, it's like why aren't you like, I just made you wait or made you do this or do that. It's like you should be upset. You should get angry. It's like, what does that do?
Waste so much energy.
What does that do? This is just a lot of energy wasted, right? And so I think it's a reminder. It's like we could get upset, we get riled up, but it's like that brick wall. It's just like you're just running into it. It's like you have all this frustration and it's not going, like you're just throwing yourself out there for no reason, right? You're throwing yourself into the brick wall for no reason.
Hold on, you just brought up one of my favorite analogies ever. What do you know about the brick wall?
What do I know about the brick wall? Essentially, it's there. It's no matter how hard you punch it, you're probably not going to do anything. Like it's not going to damage the brick. Like you're damaging yourself.
So why punch a brick wall?
Because you have all this pent up frustration. You just like, I'm going to take it out, and then you realize you're just harming yourself.
Dude, I dig that. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Wait, hold on. Where'd you get that from? Oh, it drinks water. Oh, you're so shady. You're supposed to answer that. That's fine. Where'd you get the brick wall from?
I mean, me and you kind of discussed it a little bit. But
Oh, you and I?
Yeah, but like...
I just want the credit for it. That's all I'm looking for here.
Yeah. Me and you discussed it a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But we talked about it's like, no matter how hard you hit it, it's still not going to do anything. So what's the point?
So, Kerlous, thank you for kind of sharing your thoughts on the bike brand and everything in your life story. And I appreciate that.
For sure.
So you also had another piece of homework. So, Kerlous, let me ask you, what personal development tool do you use to help you find your own best path forward?
Let me pull this up. I wrote it down. Honestly, it's just being honest with yourself.
Oh, hang on. I got to get my notebooks. So you said be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
All right. What does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just being honest with yourself, assessing where you're at with your goal. It's very easy to just let yourself not be aware of whatever is going on and just keep going. So I think it's more so just looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, okay, I'm not doing the most of my time. Like, let's dig through this, right? And just like looking at it's like, what does an efficient person, what does an efficient Kerlous look like? What could I be doing more of my time to make sure that I'm doing the most amount of work possible day in and day out? So I think that honestly is the biggest tool that I could really say. I mean, the others is like working on making actual goals with a deadline on it, holding yourself accountable, having a support group, or at least one person to help you throughout the process. But
You just said that so quickly. I don't know what you just said.
let me say it again.
Yeah, come on now.
So the other two were working on making actual goals with a deadline on it to hold yourself accountable. And then the third thing is having a support group or at least one person to help you out throughout the process.
So the question is, I mean, don't all these three kind of work together?
Yeah. And that's essentially why, I feel like for personal development, if I want to put myself in the best position to hit these goals in this stage and part of my life, then, where do I need to start? And I always need to start with the reflection.
Start with the reflection, that honesty.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of looking at your kind of like three big things that you talked about, start with being honest with yourself. Then you ask yourself, what does an efficient version of yourself look like? What kind of deadlines are you kind of holding yourself to? And the third one is, what kind of support system do you have? All in the honesty kind of framework. Mm-hmm. So is it tough to kind of be honest with yourself in those situations?
It's definitely tough, especially when you don't practice it enough.
What's the tough part?
The tough part is just looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, you were wrong about this. Like, you were wrong about what you're doing, and just being like, you need to fix this. And it's like, I mean, me and you talk about David Goggins like multiple times, and it's like, we have him right here.
He's staring at us,
right? And, I mean, definitely got to read. Can't hurt me if you haven't read it. But it's just looking at yourself and then being like this isn't what like my most potential is, and just being able to like look at that and just like try to see where the holes are and actually start working on that.
I'm starting to see it now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you kind of developed kind of a framework for what I'm calling like just thinking about like an honesty assessment. And the first thing is like, what does an efficient person look like? And I think to myself, like, if I'm trying to lose weight and I know over the weekend it was a little rough with like, social life and everything. I know if I step on the scale on Monday, I'm like, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a little higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And if I was honest with myself, I was like, oh, there's a reason why. It's not like it's just weight just magically appears.
No.
Unless you're on like some medication or something where you have a tendency to blow. I'm not, but like chances are if I have an influx in weight gain, it's because Adriatico's pizza, some bourbon, some late nights, sleep disruption, something happened. And so it wasn't me being the most efficient version of myself to lose weight because I had a lot of situations over the weekend where I chose not to stick to that efficient plan of losing weight, which is, caloric restriction caloric deficit, not restriction, caloric deficit on top of like caloric surplus and working out. And so it's tough. I understand that. So for yourself, how do you go about making sure like you fully understand what an efficient version of Kerlous looks like?
Just trying to track my day and seeing where I spent the most time, especially when it was like when I was first starting out in real estate and like how tight my time was, or like I was like, oh, okay, like I need to limit my screen time, or I need to do this so I can hit this goal of whatever I need to do this by at this time of day. So I think it's a mix of like being accountable to yourself, and it's just being real. How far are you from your goals? And if you had these goals set out before and it's like you're not really getting there, why am I not getting there? And so, just tracking that and just like looking at that day in and day out. Track it for a week and see how much more like you're like, oh wow, like I'm raising awareness to this, right? And it's like, oh, I see this now.
Are you a high screen time addict?
I work on it not trying to be, but at the same time, it is very easy to do with my line of work. So yeah, I'd say pretty high, but as soon as I'm trying to go to bed around 9, 10 p.m., it's like, I don't care what's going on. It's time to go to bed, right? So, yeah.
Because you want to become more efficient at sleeping, so you could probably get up earlier and start the day off the way you kind of talked about earlier. I dig that. So efficient, like track your day, even if it's like hour by hour, use some type of like technology if you have to kind of track like where's time leakage happening? Is it on the screen time? Is it just me watching Netflix? Is it me just, playing video games? Or there's a lot of ways that people waste time. I know for me back in the day, video games. Get me on an RPG. You know what an RPG is?
No.
I'm such a nerd. You're going to pretend? What do you think it stands for? I just don't do that. It's a role-playing game. So it's like it has a story. Next thing you know, you're enthralled. 5-6 hours goes by, and it's like, man, that was not a efficient use of my time.
Yeah.
But I got to level 10, so that's something.
Check.
Yeah, it's bad. But like once you start raising awareness to it, and then like these phones now have screen time. It's like, hey, your screen time is up 5% this week. It's like, oh, that's not that much. And it's like, hey, it's up 5% again next week. And like you realize it's
like, oh man.
Yeah.
Sorry, add up.
It does. So I did that for efficiency. And you kind of went into your second one of like hitting a deadline, like having a deadline. You said, am I being efficient to hit my goals within a certain time? So like, how do you have an honest assessment about deadlines?
Just setting out like quarterly goals. Like me, you and Dom, we had dinner the other time, and it's like, you want to set your quarterly goals. So instead of only setting quarterly goals, set monthly goals, set weekly goals, and then turn it into a daily goal to be able to hit that initial goal or the main goal.
Oh, so you're working backwards. You start with what you want to do for the quarter. Then you figure out, based on that, what can I do in a month?
Yep.
Based on that, what can I do in a week?
What do I have to do in a week to be able, and then what do I have to do in the day? And I just split it up.
What about by the hour?
Well, you have the day, and you should look at what you have during the day, and you split it up when you're looking at your schedule.
What about like by the minute?
That's a good question. Damn.
That sounds like a lot of work. It's too much. That's too much.
It's too much work because you're just gonna be like, dang, this is overwhelming.
And so that's kind of the funny thing with deadlines. If you're too strict with them, you're never going to hit them. But at the same time, if you're not like sticking to them enough, it's like, oh, there's no pressure to get it done. That's where you have these people that have like these year-long resolutions. It gets November and December. It's like, man, I haven't done a whole lot with that. So I like your idea of like kind of working backwards from the deadlines. Having an honest assessment also involves like, can I actually pull this off in this time frame?
Yeah.
If not, it doesn't have to be 100% completion. Sometimes, like,
Yeah.
if I have a quarterly goal for this quarter to lose 20 pounds, like, that's not a small amount. And so it's like, maybe you can't do it all in 1 month. And so it's like, how can I spread this out over 3 months? It's like, all right, still a bit of a reach, but it's a lot more feasible. So have an honest assessment. Can you actually pull this off in that time frame? I think part of, what was it, James Clear? Have you heard of Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
Like, set reasonable goals. And so have an honest assessment about your goals as well. I dig that.
Yeah.
And the third thing you talked about is kind of having a support system. So how do you incorporate honest assessment with a support system?
I think it's telling one or two people that also have goals, what you're working on and what you're trying to do day in and day out, and them telling you, it's like, okay, hey, Dan, like, you didn't do this, like, what's going on? Like, is everything all right? Like, just want to make sure you hit that goal. It's like, because at the end of the day, you don't understand when somebody's being as hard on you in the moment, but then when you have somebody that's like being hard on you or telling you, hey, like, snap out of this, it's like they love you.
Yeah.
It's a form of love. Obviously, the way you deliver it means a whole lot too.
Love shouldn't hurt. It should inspire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't want to have someone that's just sitting there cutting you down. It's like, oh, I'm only telling you this because I love you. But like, no, that's not love. You're just being a douche.
Yeah.
No one needs that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think honesty here also requires vulnerability as well, because this is going to come as a surprise to you. We can't read each other's minds.
That's insane.
And you ready for me to loop it back to something we talked about earlier?
That was it.
The bite brain. It's like, you know what? I don't understand what you're going through, so I can't pass judgment. But I also don't understand what you're going through. So unless you tell me, how can I best save your day? And so it's kind of on the person that's going through something to have that relationship with that person and say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. This is an honest assessment. Honesty, another word for it, is also just being vulnerable with someone. It's like, no one wants like, oh man, I have everything together. One, because that person doesn't exist. We all have these struggles we're going through, whether you're open and honest with it or not. Even a person that you think is the best in shape or the most wealthy, like, they have their own issues too. Whether they're honest about it with you or not, that's a different story. But no one's perfect. Social media, all these people that have like these perfect lives, spoiler alert, they're not perfect. So how do you go about finding the right people to be open and vulnerable with, to kind of have that honesty assessment with them?
I look at my circle, look at people that are that have goals themselves, and it's like you're building your ship, right? And you have crew members. So your crew members are going to know exactly whatever you're kind of going through and be like, hey, this is the challenge you're facing, right? Here's how you can, come through, overcome it, right? And so
Crew members, I like that.
Yeah.
I dig that. It reminds me of that show One Piece with that guy. This one, he has like his crew, and like he depends on them for a lot, and they depend on him a lot. And like without his crew, his whole journey to become king of the pirates, I know it's an anime.
Yeah.
They had this premises, like it would go nowhere because he needs a support system. So I dig that. Kerlous, I think that's a fantastic tool that you share with us.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
So in about 17 seconds, I'm going to ask you for the name of this thing as I kind of recap these 3 tools, all right?
You're gonna ask for the name of
The whole tool set.
Okay.
Do you have a name for it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah, well, you don't need the time.
Yeah.
What you got for the name?
Lowe's Tools.
Lowe's Tools?
Yeah.
I dig that. There's no honesty or anything in there. Just your tools.
Yeah.
All right. So Lowe's Tools, and this is about an honesty assessment.
Yeah.
So Lowe's Tools for an honesty assessment, broken down into 3 steps. Step number 1, figure out what an efficient version of you looks like. Step number 2, have a working deadline. And step number 3 is a support system. Make sure you have people around you. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
All right. So efficient, kind of some tools that you have for people, kind of track your day, see what you're doing. If you find yourself having a lot of time leakage, try to plug up those holes a little bit. Number 2, start with the big quarterly goals, then break it down to monthly goals, then the weekly goals, and figure out how you can actually accomplish those quarterly goals and have some more pressure by having deadlines in front of them. And number 3, have 1 or 2 people that you kind of trust, that you can kind of be open with, so you can have that support system, kind of building out your own crew. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Lowe's Tools.
Like it.
I love it.
Let's go.
I want to implement this. This is good. You got to be honest with yourself. I mean, if you're lying to yourself, then you're just cheating your own journey.
100%.
I dig that. Well, Lowe's, Los. In closing, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, I mean, we all start somewhere. I think the biggest thing is just knowing it's okay wherever you start, and don't be afraid to reach out to people that are doing great in their journey, in their goal setting or whatever, and ask them for advice and ask them for help, because we can't do this alone, and that's why we have people like Dan out here.
And that's why people like you as well.
Thank you, Dan.
It takes a community of people to make this happen.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate being part of it.
Thank you, Dan.
Absolutely. Well, sir, until next time, you know you're coming back, right?
Of course.
Heck yeah. We'll cheers you out.
So,
We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
next time.
Thank you for watching and listening to today's episode. Chances are you're looking to embark on your own personal development journey. I'm not going to lie to you. True personal development is hard, and it's supposed to be hard. That's because you're not only changing who you are, but how you operate. The aim of this podcast is to give you a community of people that are striving to do the same. So like and subscribe to the channel, but more importantly, comment below on how you plan on using today's tool to find your own best path forward. We'll see you next time.